Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we're going to talk about the Palestine-Israel war. And all I'm going to do is give an analogy to exactly what's happening. And when I say exactly, I mean exactly. I want you to remember a piece of America's shameful history. Christopher Columbus and his people had just come to America. They started out as a minority. Then they became powerful because of new discovery in technology like guns and weapons. And they decided that, this land, it may have gold. It may help us flourish. So we should establish ourselves in this land. And the Native Americans who helped them survive all that time, they know about the starvation period. They know that when the natives didn't help them at the beginning, then literally a third of them died, okay? And yet, after they helped them and see that they were, kind of not planting and farming right, they helped them. After all of that, after the natives saved them, they'd still decide that, hey, this can be our land. And so what did the colonists do? They massacred the Native Americans until they became a minority. And then occasionally they'd have minority attacks where the Native Americans get their poison arrows and they start shooting. And what did the people in England say? The natives are just tyrannical and mad people and they have no rationale. Okay, they were basically defamed. They were notorious for being, so impulsive. Okay, and now that history is done with that story, where when my teacher taught it to us, she held her head down and put her hand on her head and said, "Guys, today we're going to learn the shameful part of America." After the natives did those attacks, you know what the colonists did? They massacred them even more than the first time. Okay, it was just their small counterattack, but they said they were so mad because they didn't feel the pain of losing so many that they loved. Even though they did that like tenfold to the Native Americans, they didn't know what to do with that pain, so instead of trying to make peace, they went ahead in the cycle of vengeance, and they massacred the Native Americans so much so that the next person to take control said, okay, we need to make reservation spaces for these guys because they're just going to die out completely, and that's not right. So yeah, imagine that you're so bad that even though you don't have a guilt sense, you still feel guilty. That's what happened in America, and nowadays we look at that as the shameful history. The protagonist and the antagonist is so black and white. It's very clear, and that's what the future of Palestine and Israel is. That's exactly what happened. Palestinians lived there. They took in the Zionists. Then the Zionists decided that they want to take over. So they massacred and starved and povertized the Palestinians, and now they're just waiting there, and then suddenly a group of them decides to rise up and they go ahead and they try to attack Israel. They succeed despite them having such rudimentary weapons, they jumped out of the sky in parachutes. Okay, the Israelis get to click buttons in planes. Okay, and basically, yeah, Israel is deciding to go in that cycle of vengeance. They've killed more than theirs have been killed. And the thing is that they had already killed from before thousands, tens of thousands of Palestinians. So if somebody does the hisab or accounting of the death toll on both sides, Palestine will get justice from God, because God does not care about colonization. He has made it clear that you do not murder, you do not kill, unless it is out of clear self-defense, unless it is out of clear necessity. And this is not clear necessity. May Allah help the Palestinians, may Allah guide them. And yeah, all we can do is dua for their guidance. I've made another video called the Israel-Gaza War Explained. why did God let this happen? If you look at the last 3 minutes, it's going to explain my theory on why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let this happen. Go check that out, and don't forget to subscribe and share. And make the offer the Palestinians guidance.